Hey folks, David Stewart here. I'm hanging out here with the boar from the pod future here. I want to make a video just telling people what the plans are for February 2021, which is to focus on music. I took January and just really focused on streaming because I wanted to create a work habit, a particular work habit of getting down in front of the camera and streaming and having fun doing that, playing some games. And part of that is I have a goal for the year to play through as many of the Final Fantasy games as I can get through because I like them and I think it's just a cool project. For February, rather than focusing on books, which have been really, my primary focus for a while now, I really want to apply lots of the things that I talk about in this book to focusing on music for a short period of time, which is going to be 28 days in the month of February. And this is for basically February album writing month. I will give you a link down in the description for a website that is there for organizing it. Basically, it's NaNoWriMo, but for music. Now, I've done a lot of music over my life. You can listen to some of it at zulonline.bandcamp.com, which would let you download that stuff for free or, optionally pay for it, depending on where the value is. If you hear the music at the beginning of the streams, that's my music. So that's what it sounds like. It's mostly instrumental music. So in this case, what the goal of February album writing month is to write 14 songs in 28 days. That's one every other day. Now that is a tall order for someone like me, not because I'm a bad composer or something like that, but because I tend to write songs that are long enough that they're difficult to complete in just 2 days. Now, when I was doing music over the summer, I already have 3 in the can, I guess, because I did 3 over the summer. I would do them over the course of a weekend. So I actually would do them in about 2 days, but in those 2 days, I had more time to work than I normally have during a weekday, because during a weekday, I'm taking care of my kids all day, and I don't usually get to work until I sit down at my computer pretty late at night after I've done all my other tasks. So I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get through in February. So the question I'm going to have directed towards you guys is, should I shoot for 14 or should I just see how much I can do in 28 days? Right now I'm thinking I'll just see how much I can do in 28 days. That way, at the end of that, I can move on to other things. And I can still put out an album if I get, say, 7 songs done. Then that makes 10 total, and that will actually, because I write longer songs, that will easily fill up an album. Memories Adrift, that is actually pushing right to the edge of what's possible to be, I think, printed on a CD. I think it's close to 80 minutes of music. So that's a lot of music that I put on that one album, and I think it's only like 10 tracks. So some of those are long, like 12 minutes. That just tends to be how I write things like instrumental music. The other concept that I was thinking about going for this month, just to kind of tie everything together and give myself a direction to think in, is soundtrack to a game which doesn't exist. I have had this idea kind of kicking around in my head for a while, which is just really music that sounds like video game soundtrack music, but is more directed towards what I do, which is ambient instrumental rock and just instrumental music in general. And I'll use my basically use the creative process that I used to create the original Zool album for this, which is what I call direct composition, which is rather than writing everything down in a score the way I would compose music, say, 15 years ago. I write everything out and do it that way and then try to record it. Instead, I just record what I compose directly. So I come up with a part, I record it. If I want to change it, I re-record it. Or if I'm recording MIDI stuff, I can just alter MIDI, overdub. So it's just constant overdubbing and adding new sections until the composition is complete. And because you're working in a digital audio workstation where you can move your audio clips around and copy paste and do all that kind of stuff, you can just skip the whole step of creating a score for it because no one's performing it other than me. So I don't really need to create a score for it unless it was like, okay, now we're going to have an orchestra perform it because of some event that happens. Well, I can open it up and isolate the tracks, write them down on a score if I have to later, if I get some kind of opportunity to have other people play the music. But otherwise, it's just a step that I don't need to use, and especially because I use a lot of jazz-like stuff where I do a lot of improvisation, tend to just write down the chord changes and go from there, which is basically how we would compose jazz music back when I actually perform jazz music, which was, I guess, a number of years ago at this point. So that's what my plan is for February. I would be curious to know if anybody else wants to try this out for February, and if you want to try it out and you're a subscriber, I'll totally link whatever music you come up with. I will link it on the channel or link it on my Twitter, and I'll maybe come up with like a weekly thing for my newsletter to just let people share the music with each other. I'll email it out with a bunch of links, or we can share it every week on the channel or on Twitter. Maybe if you want, I could even, if you're interested in this, there's lots of people watching who want to get in on this challenge, we could just make like a compilation video and like put it up or something. I don't know. You let me know what kind of ideas you have for this, and I'll be happy to go with it. February starts tomorrow, so I'm really in the planning phase. And I talk about some of this stuff in Keys to Prolific Creativity. It's important to have your creative process, and for something like a book, it's really good to have your process and continue it until the book is complete. In this case, I'm thinking about bounding time rather than the scope of the project. So that is to say, working for 28 days, and then I'm done. Whatever I can get done in 28 days, maybe a little bit extra to like finish off what I started, then that's what I finish. Rather than saying I'm going to do 14 songs and see how long it takes me like to get to 14 songs. When you're writing a book, you really need to have the scope bound because you need to write a whole book. So it's not just, that's one of the things with NaNoWriMo. 50,000 words, if that's not the whole story, you need to keep writing the story until you finish the book, which means you can't be bound in by one single month. So you can either fix your time or fix your scope. And in this case, I'm thinking about fixing time because I'm usually fixing scope because I'm writing books. So in this case, it's a different thing. And it's really hard to fix both. It's really hard to say, I'm going to do exactly this. I'm going to write 14 songs in 28 days. Especially for someone like me that tends to write longer songs. It's like, it's better to adjust that goal and fit it into what it is. I'm going to see how much I can get done in 28 days. My goal is to get through as much music, maybe if it's 14 songs, let's just say 60 minutes of music. Get through 60 minutes of music in 28 days. That's a lot to compose, but I think I could do it as long as I'm able to get down to the computer and get my guitars out. Finally get to, I have all these guitars in the background. You guys haven't seen me play them in a while, I bet. I'll do that kind of stuff. So the streams will continue. I also want to mention that before I go. Monday, Thursday, Saturday. So game streams, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Might do some music streams, might not. I've done those in the past. People haven't loved them. In other words, not a ton of people really love watching people compose music. Dragon Force does some really cool streams, but I'm not Dragon Force, and I'm not able to like write Sabaton songs with funny lyrics like on the fly, so it's not going to be quite as interesting, I think. But I'll try it out. Might try it out a couple days, and if people like it, then we'll continue that, and we'll just kind of work that into the workflow as well. Lastly, I want to apologize for some content basically not coming out this week. I just ran out of time to do things. I'm making this video on Sunday night, and I thought I'd have more time after I did the live streams on Saturday afternoon to make more videos. That time evaporated because of things going on with my family. Those of you who've been in the live streams know that that's, my mother-in-law's my mother-in-law had open heart surgery a week ago, and she's really not doing well with recovery. And that has impacted the family as well as some other issues that have popped up during that same time frame that have really required us to direct our time and attention towards the needs of other people rather than our own. And that includes my need to be able to be productive in work. I'm going to be getting that video content out as soon as I can, but I definitely want to let you know that there is video content planned for movies and anime and stuff like that, as well as writing videos and philosophy videos. So I'm going to try to get those out as soon as I can, but it's just sometimes your time gets severely impacted for a little while, and that's okay because you work for the long haul, not the short run. So the short run, sometimes you get interrupted, sometimes you can't work for a given day. That's okay because you're going to work the next day and you're going to eventually finish your project. So that's the main thing that I want to communicate, and I hope you guys are having a great day. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. I'll do a game stream tomorrow night, Monday night, which will actually be Tuesday morning for most of you because I tend to do it late at night. Everybody in Germany, in Europe's like, good morning, guten Morgen. Let's watch the game stream. So anyway, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one. Keys to Prolific Creativity. It's $2.99 on Amazon. Good stuff about establishing your creative process and figuring out how to complete your goals. And I'm going to be trying to apply that stuff in a little bit different way than I haven't done before. And hopefully I'll be able to learn some new things through this process as well. I have a big growth mindset, and I'm always looking for ways to improve myself and grow and try new things and figure out how I can do things better than I've done them before. That's a constant process for me, and it's allowed me to be just continually productive over a couple of years. And that ends up with a big catalog of stuff that you come out with, books and videos and everything else. So hopefully that works out for you guys too. Let me know what you're going to do for February if you're a musician and you're thinking about jumping into this. To me, it's, even if you're completely inexperienced and what comes out of this is garbage, it's worth doing because you will grow because of it. And you can always look back and go, here's this album I recorded in a month like 5 years ago. I was so bad, but you'll go back, and even as you improve, you'll go back and look at your early stuff, which sucks usually. And that's definitely how I feel about my early stuff, whether it's music or writing. And you're seeing like, no, I see the uncut gem in there. I see the value. I see what I was actually good at right from the get-go. And, it's a cool thing to do that, because you say, well, I really was good at doing this thing right from the get-go, and I've even gotten even better at it. So you can kind of see the uncut gem when you go back and see your early work too. So anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys next time.